We are going to talk to Bob Fertik from Democrats.com. He's on the warpath against Citizens United. Bless his heart. And he's going to, I believe, tell us some good news about what the Democratic Party is doing about it. Bob, welcome to the Young Turks.
Thank you, Cenk. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Great to have you here. First off, just for the people who don't know, real quick, can you explain to us what the Supreme Court did in Citizens United?
In January, they ruled on a narrow partisan Republican 5-4 majority that corporations can spend unlimited amounts of money in an election to elect or defeat the candidate of their choice.
And one of my primary concerns, first of all, my primary and overwhelming concern is that allows corporations to take over the political process. But a secondary concern I had was, well, there's nothing that really prevents foreign corporations from doing that as well. But even if they can't do it now, according to some interpretations, you bring up an interesting point about opening up a subsidiary here. How would that work?
Yeah, a U.S. company that is a subsidiary of a foreign company, let's say Toyota USA, which is entirely owned by Toyota Japan, or Citgo, which is entirely owned by the Venezuelan oil company. Those U.S. subsidiaries can spend unlimited amounts of money, just like every other U.S. corporation.
Well, it's very ironic because we just heard Sarah Palin say in a speech today that, Obama's letting Chavez take over. Ironically, it's the right-wing conservative court that's letting Chavez take over under this ruling, right?
Exactly right.
So, now, not that he's taking over, but he could spend a tremendous amount of money through his oil company to influence our elections. So now, what are the Democrats proposing to fight back on this?
There's a bill that will be introduced any day now that the leaders have drafted. It's Chuck Schumer, the senator from New York, and Chris Van Hollen, the representative from Maryland. And it will do several things. It will restrict foreign-controlled corporations, prevent them from spending in U.S. elections. It will require full disclosure of these anonymous laundered money attacks when corporations give money to the Chamber of Commerce or to these anonymous groups that nobody's ever heard of. So those would have to disclose who's actually paying for them. And the third provision that we're working real hard to make sure ends up in the final bill is that that shareholders should have to vote on all corporate political spending, because the money doesn't belong to the managers, it belongs to the shareholders. It's there. It would come to them in the form of dividends, so it's not management's money to waste on corrupting the political process.
All right, let's go back to the second point there. So, well, actually, I want to add or ask about one other thing here. How about the idea of making them go on camera, the CEOs or something? How does that work?
Yeah, that's the disclosure part. It would, just like in political ads, the candidates have to go on camera and say, I approve this message. The CEO of the company that's spending the most on any given ad would have to do the same thing. Okay.
Is that realistic? I mean, how... Or would it really honestly shut down the whole thing? I mean, or could they really say, okay, I'm the CEO of ExxonMobil, and I, think that Democrat should lose because he believes in global warming. Or that's it, ExxonMobil would just basically have to get out of doing corporate ads.
Well, it's up to them. There are some corporate executives like Don Blankenship of Massey Coal who would probably go on camera and say, I approve this message because I hate Democrats because they're all commies.
But it's interesting because if they're not willing to say it in public, why do we allow them to do it in private? I thought we had an open and free and transparent government. I want to go back to that second point though, because would that affect the rules as they currently stand even before Citizens United? So, for example, Americans for Prosperity and Freedom Works, they get money, I believe. Americans for Prosperity does, from Koch Industries, and they don't have to reveal how much they get at all, right, as things currently stand. If I've got it right, and that's why I wanted to ask you, would this law change that?
It gets complicated. Well, what's at issue with Citizens United are campaign ads. They're ads that attack a candidate. Corporations were never able to run those ads before. They could run issue ads. So during the healthcare battle, there were endless healthcare ads, corporate ads, but they weren't campaign ads. They weren't saying elect or defeat a candidate. So this would be entirely new to have that corporate money in these attack ads, and that's the rules that would be changed by this new law.
Okay, so they could still give money to so-called think tanks or grassroots organizations, and we couldn't really find out how much they're giving. So that's a separate issue.
For lobbying, no, this law wouldn't cover the lobbying activity. It would only cover campaign activity.
All right, we're talking to Bob Fertik from Democrats.com. Bob, you want it to be even tougher than this law. How much tougher could it be?
Well, we've got a multi-year battle ahead of us, honestly. This battle for Schumer Van Hollen, which will be decided in the month of May, is a short-term battle. The medium-term battle is publicly financed elections, so that candidates who don't want corporate money can compete by getting a lot of small donor contributions and getting those donations matched. That's a very good system of clean elections that's worked in a lot of places like Maine and Arizona. So we need that at the federal level. The third thing that we need, which is a long-term battle, is a constitutional amendment that declares that corporations are not people and do not have the rights under the First Amendment and the other amendments to the Constitution.
You know, the way that they snuck them into being people back in the late 1800s was amazing. I don't know how many people know that story about how the clerk who used to be the executive of the railroads then writes in later, oh, by the way, corporations are people, when he's not a justice at all. You know, Bob, how many politicians do you think have any idea, or let alone justices, have any idea that's what actually happened?
Well, I imagine all the justices know because they're very astute, and the 4 dissenters object to it, and the 5 Republican right-wingers support it. It's just where they stand. I don't know that many members of Congress know the history of the 19th century railroad laws.
So, but Bob, it's interesting because it goes to the issue of, to the main issue at hand here, because Rehnquist, who was a conservative, actually was against corporations having First Amendment rights. But now he's been replaced by not other conservatives, but by corporatists like Roberts and Alito. And I think there's a distinction there. Is there a way of reaching real conservatives in the country and saying, hey, look, you should actually be on our side?
Well, if you look at the polls, the 80% of Americans oppose Citizens United ruling. They oppose the idea that corporations should have more power than they have now. And that was across the board. Republicans, conservatives, just as much as Democrats and liberals. So definitely the average conservative and Republican voter feels this way. The problem is that the entire Republican leadership is 1,000% behind the corporate takeover of politics, and that even includes John McCain, who was the author of the McCain-Feingold law that was overturned by this ruling. He's just turned out to be, atrocious. I mean, now he says he wasn't even a maverick.
Yeah, I saw that. No, look, I've long called the GOP the wholly owned subsidiary of corporate America. But then that makes you wonder, hey, can we get this thing passed? Because, I don't know, are they going to have the nerve to filibuster this thing? And are they going to be able to hold all their senators?
Well, this is an interesting question. The leadership, Chuck Schumer, is, a good political leader, a good inside player. So it will have the full support. This is something that affects every single senator. Every single one of them understands that, in theory, they could run up against one of these campaigns, that some corporation could spend $100 million to defeat them, and they would be powerless. That's in theory, but even the mere threat of that, if they went to a meeting with the heads of ExxonMobil and were told, look, we're thinking about running this campaign against you. If you don't side with us on global warming, then we will run this campaign. I mean, that form of extortion, that form of mafia threat would be so powerful that the senators fully understand where this would lead, and they will want to take action to prevent that from happening.
So in under a minute here, do you think the bill is strong enough, and do you think it'll pass?
I hope it's strong enough. We haven't actually seen the bill yet. It hasn't been introduced, so we don't know. We only know the talking points. I hope it's strong enough, and I think it will pass, but we are not taking chances. We are out there mobilizing. Visit Democrats.com to sign the petition to your congressman to urge them to support this. We're doing everything we can. We've got a broad coalition in support of this effort.
All right, Bob Fertik, president of Democrats.com. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
If you like this clip, you'll love the whole show. You can watch that at theyoungturks.com.